This is Sports Charlotte, the podcast about sports in Charlotte. My name is Herb White. I'm editor-in-chief at the Charlotte Post. This is Cameron Williams, who is staff reporter at the Post. It is Thursday, April 9, 2026. Spring is here. We're getting close to the middle of April, which means Jackie Robinson Day and Tax Day both coincide on the 15th. But for the purposes of this program, we're talking basketball. But before we get to that, it's also Masters Week. So
Yeah,
I know you love talking about the Masters, and even though it's in Augusta, Georgia, and has very little to do with Charlotte, I just wanted to throw out that recognition.
of course.
And you call it one of the best sports holidays of the year, even though I don't think that qualifies as a sports holiday, but to each his own.
Yeah, because you're not a golf guy.
You are so right.
You go look up the top five. It's definitely in the top five of the sporting. What's the good word for it? Events, I guess, if you will. So yeah, no, it definitely is. But what's cool about it though is right after, just a few weeks later, golf is in Charlotte. I'm sure we'll be talking about that
Yes, because
at the new and improved Truist,
well,
or just rebranded.
yes,
or
it's
bought out.
rebranded for sure because it has a new sponsor, and we will certainly pick up on that as time goes on.
Hopefully, we get some big names in Charlotte for this tournament.
Well, depending on what happens at the Masters, who's to say? Somebody might try to follow up on the green jacket with the Truist Championship, the very first.
Yeah.
So, but more immediate things are happening in Charlotte. Tomorrow is the home finale, regular season finale for the Charlotte Hornets. Their playoff seeding is still TBD, but the Detroit Pistons come to town.
That's going to be it's going to be a tough game. I mean, look, they just played the Celtics, and they played them close, and they were up for a large portion of that game. Then they did a early season Hornets thing. They had scoring droughts that just absolutely killed them late in that game, in the fourth quarter especially. Allowed the Celtics just to get just enough of a cushion to where the Hornets were never really a threat anymore late in that fourth quarter. LaMelo Ball played really, really well.
Except for the fourth quarter.
Well, yeah, but I mean, at that point, he had played, and he was probably gassed.
Mhm.
I'll give him that because they were without Kobe White. I don't know if it was due to injury or due to load management. If it was load management, then I question some decisions. But you could just tell LaMelo was playing more in different minute structures too, because you'll notice guys tend to have a trend. They'll either like play the whole fourth, sit the first 4 minutes of the second, then come back in. Well, LaMelo, he'll play in spurts and then sit for a little bit in the first, let Kobe come in and do his thing, then come back out and start the second. He wasn't able to do that, play the majority of the first. So it could have just been, at least for him personally, a change in minute. What is it?
Distribution.
Distribution, but what he's accustomed to playing as far as his time on the floor. But I mean, I thought it was still a good effort. Without Kobe, the team just looked different. And I've said from the beginning, health and consistent health is going to be the key for success for this team.
Mm-hmm. Well, to be sure, LaMelo Ball more than held up his part of the bargain with 36 points. And it was, and against a fairly good defensive team in Boston.
Yeah.
And they had their lineup in there. Their stars played, and their role guys did their job. The Hornets just didn't have a very good fourth quarter, and it doomed them. But I think it's also instructional when you consider how they've played against the better teams in the NBA this year, especially the second half of the season. You don't think that they are going to be an easy out, but they are not going to be the odds-on favorites to get out of the East.
Oh, no.
But I think that if they are healthy going in, and if they are in the play-in, yeah, that can happen. But I think a lot of that success may also depend on whether they are in Charlotte for the play-ins. If it's a
Yeah.
9-10, you don't want to be 10 because you get one chance only.
Yeah, you don't want to be 9 or 10.
But yeah, but at least if
If you
you're
don't play at
9,
home.
yeah, if you're playing at home, then at least you have that going for you.
Yeah, but then you have to win and then win again.
It becomes a little less stressful if you don't have to hit the road twice to do it.
So, I mean, if you're 7 or 8, then, yeah, I mean, well, because see, yeah, the 9-10, then they have to, those two teams, they have to win and then beat the loser of the 7-8 game.
Right.
So if you're in the 7-8, if you're 7th, you're guaranteed to host
at least
2.
One. Yeah.
If you lose, but at least 1, because then if you win, you're automatically in. But see, if you're 8 and then you win, then you don't have a home game till the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. It's a little discombobulating, to say the least. But understanding, let's see, they're where? In 8th?
They are 9th.
9th. Oh, yeah.
They're half game back of Philly, and Philly's got the tiebreaker.
Mm-hmm.
See, if I'm a Hornets fan, I'm really ill at Minnesota because they played everybody, their whole starting crew, and then they sit everybody against Orlando last night. And Orlando just, mops the floor with them as expected.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, is there colluding going on?
Well, I mean, people are trying to do what they think is best as the playoffs roll around, I guess. You see it in a lot of team sports where you rest people that you want to have fresh or fresher going into the postseason. Who's to say that Detroit won't do that as well with their starters, especially Cade Cunningham, who
Well, he just
played
came back.
last. Yeah, but maybe you want to ease his minutes if you're playing Charlotte, or just sit him and let him continue to recover and feel better going into the playoffs. Who knows? But
yeah, well, Detroit's just one of those teams. They could beat Charlotte without Cade.
Well, it would be a lot easier on the Hornets if he weren't there.
Oh, sure. I mean, I look at the way that game when they they had the brawl between Duran and Diabate and then Stu and Bridges and all that. They just didn't seem to miss Duran the rest of that game. Or I know Cade Cunningham being the point guard and being a triple-double threat all the time is a bit more of a asset than Jalen Duran, who's just going to be your 18-10 guy. But they just didn't look like they missed either Stu or Duran the rest of that game.
Mm-hmm.
They just have a well-oiled machine there.
It's a good team.
It is a very good team. Still, it wouldn't be my favorite. It wouldn't be my pick to come out of the East.
Yeah,
Boston's just good right now.
Well, as long as Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are around, that's a really good group, I think.
And I mean,
the odds on, yeah.
But their pieces around them too, with Derek White and Peyton Pritchard, Vucevic, who came over from the Bulls at center. I mean, they have a really solid team.
And this was supposed to be their gap year.
With Tatum being out the whole year,
yeah, and they've done pretty well for it to be. Oh, this is your mulligan. How do you
get the second seed?
Yeah, as a mulligan, you can only imagine what it would have been if that group had been together for the entire season. But,
so who wins? I'll ask you.
Oh, Friday?
Yeah.
I think the Hornets will win because I believe there's an emotional factor there. It's the regular season finale. They've played really well at home of late. They haven't forgotten about what happened previously in Detroit, with Detroit in Charlotte. And there's still something to play for. You could possibly move up a spot, but if not, you don't want to fall any further behind.
Well, I mean, they're in 9th, so I don't think it's really going to matter too much.
Yeah,
because I don't think they can fall below Miami at this point.
Well, we'll have to check, but it's razor thin
Either way.
Yeah, 8th to 10th. So I think that the Hornets will have more to play for, and I think that will be plenty of motivation in addition to just being able to say thanks for a really good season to their fans who have picked up the torch and actually showed up. But then again, it's chicken and egg. People don't want to show up for losers. So if you start winning, people will fall in.
That is true. That is true. I'm going to say they win barely. Like, it's going to be coming down to the wire, and somebody's going to have to hit a shot, and I'm going to say it's going to be Kon Knueppel.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking tied, 30-something seconds to go, like at the 108 range, and then Kon's just going to do his thing, come off a pick and pop or a back screen, and just hit one of those daggers.
Well, that would help burnish his campaign for Rookie of the Year, too.
Yeah. Have you seen the odds flipped again, though? After that run of what Cooper had with like 50, 50, 45, and 40-something, Cooper's odds on favorite now at like minus 195.
Well, he's got everything in his favor. First overall, the pedigree is there, and the obvious talent is there. I don't necessarily think that that's any slight against Kon Knueppel, but let's face it, hype does stuff for voters.
I don't even think it's hype at this point. Who would you pick as Rookie of the Year if you had to vote?
I guess it would depend on how my mind is thinking at that particular point. Just like with MVP voting, you don't give it to players from losing teams. If it's the rookie who has done the most to put his team in a position to succeed, it's Knueppel all the way.
Okay. Now,
so
if you're doing it on best player, who's the best player?
But that's the point. Just like the MVP isn't always the best player. It's the most impactful player.
Well, then okay, well then change the name. Value should be about who the best is. Because, yes, if you take Kon Knueppel off this Hornets team, they are not anywhere as good as they are. Correct. If you take Cooper Flagg off the Mavericks, they'd be doing good to win 10 games. They've won almost 30, or give or take 30-ish.
Well, but the Hornets are still going to the postseason. And
I just think
Dallas is not.
You have to set a criteria. Is it going to be, well, does this guy who averages 18 and shoots the three really well, does Kon have a total package game? Absolutely. Do I think he's as good defensively, rebounding, and all the other things, block shots, steals, as Cooper? No chance.
Well, but that's going to be what the voters are going to look at. And like I said, I think that there's plenty of ammunition for Flagg to get this award. He was already the odds-on favorite the second the Mavericks drafted him, or anybody else would have drafted him for that matter. It was already baked in. What is impressive to me is that Knueppel has made it a debate. To me, that's where the value is. He's made it a debate because everybody's saying, hands down, this dude is far and away better than everybody. And he very well might be, but he has not had the impact because when you're taken first overall, certain things are expected of you. He's lived up to what's expected of him, but because of the injuries and then the trade and all this other stuff, it's not the same. And like you said, if you take Kon Knueppel away from the Hornets, they're not a 43-win team anyway.
Would Kon Knueppel have the same impact if LaMelo and Brandon and Miles weren't on the floor? Come on, because you're saying Cooper hadn't had the same impact. Of course not.
Mm-hmm. But going into the season, he had the better cast, at least on paper.
None of them played.
But that's
Kyrie didn't play all season.
But still, you had AD.
And he didn't play the majority of the time he was there. And then he got traded away. And he's still not playing in Washington.
That's true, too.
So you're arguing the same point on the other side. You're saying Cooper hasn't had the same impact. Well, what if LaMelo and Brandon weren't there for the Hornets, do you think Kon goes out there and is able to score 50 a night like Coop has the past 4 or 5 games? No.
Well, but also in Dallas, he is the only option. So yeah, they're going to load up and give him the ball every chance he gets. So let's put it like this: what would the Hornets look like if they had Cooper Flagg?
Probably the same, if not a little bit better.
Okay.
Because shoot,
would they be a 50-win team with Cooper Flagg?
I'd put him in place of Miles Bridges any day.
Ooh. Okay.
I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm.
You can't tell me a guy that's that good defensively can shoot better than Miles. Doesn't take as many threes, but I think he shoots just as good, if not better. And sure, he doesn't quite have I don't think he's got quite the hops per se as Miles Bridges, but
he's never going to have those hops.
Miles Bridges is a high flyer.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as total impact, and he's going to be a better player than Miles Bridges. I don't think that's up for debate.
You can even debate if he's a better player than LaMelo Ball or Brandon Miller.
Not there yet. I think he could be, because I don't think Kon's better than LaMelo or Brandon right now.
Oh no, absolutely not.
But you're talking about a kid that's 18 and Kon's 19, or 20, mm-hmm. 19 and 20.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're not going to be better than guys that have been in the league for 4 and 5 years. Not immediately.
Mm-hmm.
We're not. I don't think either of these guys are Jordan or LeBron.
I don't know.
Cooper's got a long career ahead of him, and if he stays healthy, the kid's done some amazing things.
Yeah.
You're talking about LeBron and Jordan.
Could
those
he
guys
be Luka? Could he be?
I just don't think he's got the shot that Luka's got. Now, he's got a knack for scoring inside. Really, he's an inside to out scorer, not an outside first. And I think Luka's more of an outside scorer first.
Larry Bird, maybe.
Not as much of a sniper. I think a better dribble driver than Bird was.
Yeah.
Based on my young mind and the games I've been able to go back and watch on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he's got tremendous upside. My point is, to all these Hornets fans, do I think Kon should probably win it? Yeah, because he didn't have the time where he missed so many games or whatever due to Cooper's injury. But you can't say, well, Cooper's got to do it because he's the only guy on their team. If Kon was the only guy on the Hornets because, say, whoever was out with injury, he's not going to put up those numbers.
Yeah. If
you're talking about impact,
Kon's
not going to score 50 plus back to back or 50, 40, 40 in 3 consecutive games. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, and I don't think it's necessarily going to be a runaway. So that argument, the voters will ultimately decide where they want to go with that, but the debate will continue. I think they're both going to be all-stars at some point, and once all is said and done, those two will probably be linked by history.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, because that was a really good class that Duke sent along to the NBA, led by those two. But anyway,
I've got both of their rookie cards from Topps, and yeah, I'm gonna keep those for a while. They're gonna be worth something one day. Yeah, really good players. But one more topic for this potty.
Mm-hmm.
A few weeks away from the NFL Draft.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
Who are the Panthers gonna take?
That's a good question, and I'm not so sure that the Panthers know. With the 19th selection, a lot of moving pieces. That's the way it works in the draft. If Fernando Mendoza is off the board first, which is what all kinds of folks are saying to the Las Vegas Raiders, it's a free-for-all after that. Jeremiah Love is out there. You've got a bunch of really good defensive linemen, edge rushers, all of these moving parts. By the time the Panthers get around the 19th, I guess then the discussion becomes, if the player that you have marked highest on your board isn't available, do you draft for need or do you take best available? That is where the strategy part comes in.
What would you think about, and these are just two names that are on some of the top projection boards, Omar Cooper Jr., receiver from Indiana, or local KC Concepcion, Texas A&M, prior NC State, prior Julius Chambers High School?
Conception.
I'm just saying, would you consider taking one of those guys at 19?
I don't think receiver is necessarily your biggest need. I understand the argument.
You're on the get rid of Leggett train, so you're going to need a 3.
No, not necessarily on getting rid of him. He's what? This will be his 3rd season. Yes, the development hasn't been as rapid as dudes who were taken in his class or even after his class. We're looking at you, Mr. McMillan.
The man literally acts like he mistakenly put on Vaseline instead of stickum on them gloves.
But
he's
not allowed to use.
You know what I mean?
I know.
It's like he's a football repellent. I'm not trying to be too cynical or mean, but this is a guy you got in the 1st round. At the time, he was supposed to be your guy.
Well, and that goes to show you how much of a crapshoot the draft is.
How much of a crapshoot the Panthers have had in the draft until last year.
Well, I wouldn't even go down that road. The Panthers have had really good drafts, especially in the 1st round throughout their history. The problem in recent years have been after the 1st round, especially in the late rounds. That's where you get the value, where you can find dudes who can make the team and contribute early and often. That's where the value comes in at the draft. If you're a 1st rounder, allegedly, you're supposed to be a baller anyway. But as history and results show us, the vast majority of 1st round picks are serviceable at best. Like I said, I've got my own tier of stuff. Make the team. Become a contributor. Pro Bowler. All Pro. Hall of Famer. 5 tiers.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, nobody's a Hall of Famer coming out the gate.
No.
But can you make the team, become a contributor, and then do the other stuff in terms of getting accolades?
Well, here are some names. And so, based on, would you address offensive line, receiver, tight end, or edge / other defensive position? What would you look at addressing?
O-line.
Okay.
Because you can never have enough of those.
Well, here are 2 of the names that I came across.
Mm-hmm.
Spencer Fano, Utah, offensive lineman.
Probably be gone by 19.
Okay. J.C. Davis, Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
If you're addressing offensive line,
if I had my choice, I'd take Fano.
Well, okay. But then the 2 receivers I mentioned, but also Panthers could use a tight end.
Yeah, they could.
If guys like Oscar Delp or Kenyon Sadiq, the 2 of the best tight ends around,
mm-hmm.
Georgia and then Oregon, respectively, I can't say you just wouldn't jump all over that if Fano's gone,
mm-hmm.
or if your top receiver target like a Concepcion or Omar Cooper Jr. are gone.
This is where the argument comes in terms of, okay, do you want to take another pass catcher after taking Tedero McMillan last year? It's like, do you have enough? Because I would argue Jalen Coker is the dude that nobody talks about, and he's really, really productive.
Well, I'm not saying you're going to draft a receiver to be 2. KC, he's a burner. He's going to be your slot guy.
Yeah. Okay, so then if you're talking about that's under that scenario, now you've got 3 receivers that you're leaning on. Xavier Leggett becomes your forgotten child?
Yes. you can't have enough of him.
That is some sort of cold.
He becomes your rotational guy, or when you have to
go to a 4 wide.
Or when you have to go 4 wide, yeah.
Well, then now you're starting to get into that territory. Oh, did we make a mistake?
Yeah. Then you're going to see them put him on. I heard this on the radio, I believe. You're going to hear, or you're going to see the Panthers play Leggett a lot during the preseason as like, hey, come take this guy. Come trade us.
Well, I don't know about that, but I have not necessarily given up on Xavier.
You along with two others,
Well, maybe so. I mean, but some dudes take a while, but it shouldn't take 3 seasons. Not if you're playing that position in the NFL. So again, it comes down to, does this coaching staff have enough faith in him to pass on a receiver if someone they like is available at 19? How much do you like him as opposed to an offensive tackle, which I think is still going to be a position of need long term, because you don't know what Ike Ekwonu is going to be like when he's recovered. You did sign a couple of tackles in free agency as a stopgap, but can that be something that you're looking at long term, because you're going to need depth anyway?
Yeah.
So whether Ekwonu is your starter in a year and a half, that's up for debate. But you're still going to need depth. And do you draft that depth, or are the cats that you took in free agency going to be looked at as long-term solutions?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, if you look at the Panthers tight end room,
It's really nondescript, other than Jatavian Sanders.
And Tommy Trimble, and they've also got Mitchell Evans.
Okay. Jatavian Sanders.
Okay, you're over here saying let's not take a receiver because
No,
we got Sir Drops a lot that we gotta make sure we make sure he's all touchy feeling good.
No, I'm saying,
but
based on the skill sets, those types of things. If you're looking for a pass catching athletic tight end, they have one.
Yeah,
and that's Sanders. And so the other two are serviceable pass catchers who also block.
If you're going for the athletic version, I'd go Sadiq.
Yeah,
from Oregon. But how many times have we seen a tight end like a Jason Witten? Slow, Olsen was a little bit quicker than Witten, but just I'm talking about with Delp, he's a bit broader, not a burner by any stretch of the means, but got sure hands. That's what you want with a tight end. If it's 3rd and 5 and you gotta have it, you need 7 points to win the game down by 6, and you got to get that first down with 1.5 minutes left. You want a serviceable tight end. That's Delp.
Very well could be. And again, if the Panthers are looking at this as best available, if either of those are available, you're also thinking, well, does our quarterback need one more piece to complete our offense, as opposed to working on this defense, which was middle of the road at best last year, which was good considering that they were the absolute worst the season before.
Yeah.
So really it comes down to a matter of philosophy. Do we do something to improve that defense, or do we get Bryce Young one more weapon?
That's what, again, we're talking about one specific pick. There's a whole draft.
Absolutely, and that's where you have to start finding some value.
Well, and I think right now your value is going to be in your weapons. Unless you want to go O-line, depending on who's there at 19. But I think there's enough value on the back end of this draft to address some defensive inefficiencies 3rd, 4th round, rather than pass up on a guy like KC, who honestly, I think KC or either the tight ends, I think are going to be pretty solid.
Well, a lot of this is going to depend on what happens with the 18 picks ahead of Carolina. So, but I'm sure they'll find a solution. I mean, they really don't have much choice. They've got a 19th pick overall, unless you decide, well, you know what? Let's drop back a little bit, grab ourselves some extra picks, and add value that way.
Who knows?
That's what makes it so entertaining. 19
If
spots
I'm the organization, I'm looking at Delp or KC first. More so KC than Delp, but that's just me. That's little old reporter man who covers the Panthers a time or two a year. But I'm just saying, I follow along and I keep up, and I just think one of those two guys could be most serviceable if they're available at 19. That's my 2 cents. Take it for what it's worth. 2 cents.
But it's ironic because last year this time we had the opposite arguments, and you were arguing for defense.
There is no
and
one.
I was arguing for Tetairoa McMillan. And lo and behold, but we know how that turned out.
And look, I can't argue with it now. Tet turned out to be a phenomenal asset. I don't think defensively there's anyone like Jalen Walker this year. So you're arguing for the defensive side, and that's fine. But last year you had the opportunity to get a guy who made an instant impact in Atlanta. Similar, a defensive guy is not going to win Rookie of the Year. I just don't think it's a running back or a receiver heavy.
Quarterback.
Occasionally, a heavy award.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody likes offense. But Jalen Walker, I mean, if you're going to get, I don't think they don't do defensive Rookie of the Year, do they?
Sure.
Oh, okay. Who won that?
I can't remember.
Okay. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
But Jalen Walker, I thought you couldn't go wrong with either him or Tet last year. I just thought defensive, or they needed to address the defense first. I mean, who knows?
I mean, I'm not saying that they should address defense first, but I'm just thinking that offensive tackle might be more pressing in terms of long-term stability and depth. That's all. As opposed to another receiver.
Sure.
Okay. But we'll see in a couple of weeks because that's what happens in a couple of weeks. But in the meantime, what we're asking you to do is go to our website, charlottepost.com, where you can become a donor, a subscriber, or subscribe for our sports newsletter that comes out every Thursday. It's curated, and it has local sports. We don't get on the train of doing the national stuff because, well, local is where it's at. It's what impacts you directly. So be sure to go to the Charlotte Post website and support us that way. Also, check out our podcast, obviously, on Queen City Podcast Network, Apple Podcasts, Spotify.
SoundCloud.
Yes. So you can do all of that. And we appreciate your support, especially if you go to the video version of the podcast on YouTube. Ring the bell so that you get the podcast as soon as it drops. So for everybody here at the office in beautiful Detroit, that's Cam. I'm Herb. Thanks for watching and listening.